Emmerdale's Bradley Riches cruelly told he would never get a job because of his autism. As Emmerdale's Lewis Barton finds himself feeling overwhelmed next week when a house party is held at his home, rising star Bradley Riches says he is immensely proud the soap is tackling how his character's autism affects him day to day in more depth. Like Lewis, Bradley, 23, is also autistic after being diagnosed at the age of 9 and nonverbal until he was 12. And as the actor shares his incredibly inspirational story from cruelly being told he'd never have a job, to starring in a high-profile soap, Bradley says he is delighted Emmerdale is being so inclusive with the introduction of Lewis to the Yorkshire Dales. Indeed, ever since his character arrived in May, viewers have seen glimpses of Lewis's autism. In recent weeks, he has confided in his white colleague Nicola how he can mask his true feelings in social situations. However, next week things come to a head when Lewis finds himself struggling after Commie decides to hold a housewarming party at Ross' house. Initially, he appears to be the life and soul of the party, but after being surrounded by some people he only vaguely knows, it soon becomes too much for him and he flees to seek refuge with Nicola. This emotional masking, Bradley explains, is a common autistic trait and it's something he can completely relate to as he, too, would leave teenage parties abruptly. Yet the actor has had to overcome some even bigger obstacles in life as he explains how acting became his savior. And thanks to the love of his family, he describes how he never felt like an outsider despite communicating as a child with pictures on the wall. In an incredibly heartwarming and honest interview that he hopes will make the 1 in 100 people who are autistic realize they aren't alone, Bradley tells the Mirror, "I am so proud to be playing Lewis. There was never anyone like me when I was growing up on TV, and I hope by exploring his character more, we can kill off misconceptions that being autistic is negative. It isn't. Like Lewis, I am autistic and I didn't go to school until I was 9 when I got my diagnosis. Up until then, I was in my own little bubble at home playing with Lego and communicating via cards on the wall. If I wanted a different pair of socks, for instance, I would whack the socks on the wall. My way of communicating would be to tap things through sounds, actions, or by pointing to colors. Now when I look back on how I did not speak, I think what was going through my brain was the fact I was comfortable in my home setting. I thought it was normal in the way I communicated." Crediting the love of his parents Karen and Julian, both chefs, for shaping who he is today, Bradley goes on to describe how it wasn't until he started attending school and then drama classes that gave him the confidence to express himself vocally. After getting diagnosed at 9, I attended school, he continues. I had a support worker who would sit with me, and because of this, there was a barrier so the other children were okay with me. I enjoyed working and I was never deemed a problem. I took everything in, but I just didn't have a response. But around the age of 12, my nan encouraged me to go to after-school drama classes to develop my confidence. It was then my confidence started to grow. I would go home, watch the Disney channels and then replay the voices in my head. I started to think, what would Bradley be? It was hugely transformative for me. Smiling happily, Bradley recalls how at the age of 12 he began to speak. His first word was Abba, as he attempted to say his sister's name, Amber. I called her Abba and that was my first word, he confides. I'd shout Abba all the time. I then started to have voice therapy. My mum and dad were amazing. They were always so supportive, even though they were told I'd have to live with them in my adult life and I would never be able to get a job when I wasn't speaking. They knew everyone was different and just wanted to do what worked for me. Thanks to the voice therapy, Bradley began to flourish. Acting classes throughout his teenage years helped enormously, and despite getting bullied at school because he found it difficult saying any words beginning with the letter R, his confidence grew. I'd be the butt of lots of jokes, he recalls. I was bullied, but I was okay with everything. 3 years ago, Bradley landed the role of James McEwen in Netflix's Heartstopper, and thanks to the role, he became a household name. In 2024, he took part in Celebrity Big Brother, alongside Sharon Osbourne and Louis Walsh, and it was his happy disposition that helped win over a new army of fans. It was also thanks to his reality stint that fate then played a part in helping him land a role in Emmerdale. We were at the NTAs and I started chatting to the casting director, he explains. She told me she'd be in touch. I just thought, yeah, that's never going to happen. A week later, she rang to invite me to audition for the role of Dylan. But I was doing panto and the schedule didn't work. Shortly after that, they asked me to audition for Lewis. Like many of his cast friends who work on Emmerdale, Bradley loves the fact the soap is so welcoming. I am enjoying playing Lewis so much, he enthuses. We are going to learn a lot more about him. Next week when the party is held, Lewis finds it difficult. He is a people's person and comes across as happy. But not everything is as it seems, and we are going to explore this more in the soap. It does make me very proud to play Lewis, and I like to bring a bit of me to the character to educate people who may never have been exposed to an autistic person before. Having him on screen is a really cool thing to be part of. Bradley says he has been bowled over by the huge number of messages from viewers thanking him for expressing autism so well. With autism, you do put a mask on, and then when you get home, that is when the meltdown happens, he confides. Lewis and I are very similar in social situations. I can remember saying yes to parties and then 2 hours later, ringing Mum to pick me up. I'd put a facade on to suggest I was enjoying the party, but I felt overwhelmed at times, especially with people I didn't know. People have sent me messages thanking me. It's been really lovely. Yet for all the positive messages, Bradley reveals he has also received some negativity. People misjudge Lewis on occasions, he adds. They say things that aren't correct. Thankfully, though, Emmerdale are hugely supportive. Listening to Bradley chat 19 to the dozen about his enjoyment being on the soap is incredibly inspiring, and his positivity about what he can bring to the storylines is infectious. Like his character, Bradley is also gay and is happily engaged to theatre director Scott Johnston, who he met 4 years ago. The couple, who live together in Leeds, are planning to tie the knot next year. We gel so well together, he says. We are looking forward to getting married next April, and I am having so much fun working on Emmerdale too. Everything is going great. In between wedding planning, the likable actor goes on to reveal that he is also running Lisa Riley's social media accounts while she takes part in I'm a Celebrity. Get me out of here. Lisa is larger than life and she will bring such great entertainment, he says. People will love her. He pauses, grins, and then promises, she definitely told me not to push the trials, but of course I am going to be pushing for her to do one.